I'm Doug Atkinson here at Solutions Review, and welcome to the Inside Jam Demo Slam. This year we were looking for a way to provide as much information as possible on the technologies in this space and asked the top solutions to send us a short recorded demonstration of their technology. Just as the name implies, the Demo Slam is intended to deliver lots of information quickly. So sit back and enjoy the show.
Hi everyone. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about Salesforce. Salesforce is the #1 CRM platform in the world. Whether you're doing marketing, sales, commerce, service, Salesforce is your one-stop shop. I want to give you a demo today on Trailhead. Trailhead is the learning platform for Salesforce. So for most people using Salesforce, it's been implemented by your organization, or maybe you're an organization looking to implement some form of Salesforce. Trailhead is your go-to to learn how to use it. And as I tell you about Salesforce, I want to tell you through the lens of Trailhead. So I recommend everyone go to trailhead.salesforce.com and you can log in. I already have a login, so it's going to let me log in using my LinkedIn. You may have to make your own account if you don't already have one, in which case you would just click sign up. But for me, obviously I have one, so I am going to log in using my LinkedIn account. So I'm just going to click here. Okay, now that I'm logged in, this is the homepage that it's bringing me to, and this is kind of just based on the most recent modules that I've completed, or if there's any trails that I'm working on. It's giving me the recommendations based off of that. So the data management module, for an example, is something that I was working on last time I was here. If I click on my name to the top right, it gives me a drop down. I'm going to go to my profile, and I'm going to start here. This is your profile in itself. As you can see, it shows me my badges. It's got my points, how many trails I've completed. As I scroll down here, it's got my certifications, any connections, super badges. It'll tell you what my skills are, and those are based on what badges I've achieved. Tells me a little bit about where I work, things like that. Just scrolling back up here. So this is just your profile page on the Trailhead site. We're going to click the app launcher up here, and we're actually going to dive into Trailhead itself. So the first thing that we see here right across the top, you see the search box, Today, Learn, Credentials, Community. The tabs across the top are the structure of Salesforce. So the actual platform looks like this, and we're clicked on Learn here. And we're going to start with modules. We'll take a look at those. So think of modules as just little bite-sized learning units that teaches you about a specific topic. I'm going to click on it, and it actually lets you narrow down your modules. So on this page, you can see that I can filter out my role, my level, the product that I'm working with. For our example today, I'm just going to go here and I'm going to scroll down to the role section. I'm going to go all the way down, and I'm actually going to select the sales role. And again, this is just as our example for today. You can go ahead and you can select any role you'd like. I will also select beginner as my level. And from there, I'm going to go, let me click beginner, and I'm going to go select my product. I'm going to go with Sales Cloud just because I've gone ahead with the sales role. So for our purposes today, let's go with Sales Cloud. And as you see, every time I click this, it narrows down the modules that it gives me as my search results. So what you're seeing here is now the modules that it recommends based on my selections. After you complete the module, you get the points, and you get the badge associated with the module. If you remember from our profile earlier, it showed me all my badges and my points. That's where that comes from. So that's just the layout of where to find things. If I go back to learn, you can also click on trails. Trails are already in the system. They've likely been built by either Salesforce themselves or by other users and made public. Trails are just a series of modules that you should complete. So as you can see, learn CRM fundamentals or manage programs for nonprofits, admin beginner if you're trying to be an administrator, get started with Trailhead. And this is just a compilation of different modules that you should be taking a look at. There's also projects here. If I click on projects, this is a little bit more in-depth. It's like think of it as a more hands-on module where there's a lot more that goes into what you're actually trying to accomplish here. It's not just a lesson and a couple of different activities. You're actually hands-on in environments and doing the work. If I go back to my Learn tab, you can also take a look at some of the other tabs in here. We've got, Trailhead Live. We've got Trailhead Academy, which lets you learn from Trailhead experts. There's different career paths, and I also want to touch on this. What are some of the different things you can do within Salesforce? So this video is intended for not only end users, but also administrators, developers, anyone who wants to get involved in the Salesforce ecosystem. These are some of the different roles that are within the Salesforce market. You can be an administrator, you can be a developer, you can be an architect, and the profiles are found here to the extent where if I click on one of them, it'll actually tell me what modules I should be taking to kind of work towards that. So these are just some statistics here again. I also want to take this time now to run on credentials. Every role has their own set of credentials that we can take a look at. Credentials being certifications. So if I click the certifications button, it shows me for each of their different roles what certifications I would need. The last item I want to talk about is communities. So communities is a way to interact with other Trailhead users. So this is other people who are using the Salesforce platform, and think of it as forums, different groups that you can join to talk about certain topics. And then we move on to companies. For companies, you can actually, as a business, create your own My Trailhead platform, which allows you to have your own training materials, whether it's for Salesforce or your own internal compliance. You can actually host that on Trailhead in the form of modules. So that's our video. Once again, just to summarize, this video helped you learn a little bit about Salesforce and the work that you can do within Trailhead to get more acquainted with Salesforce as a platform. And this is whether you're an end user, whether you're a business who's thinking of getting Salesforce, your one-stop shop for anything Salesforce oriented and getting to know the platform is Trailhead. Once again, it's absolutely free. I recommend everyone check it out. Thanks for watching.
What we now are able to do to help organizations answer these 5 questions is a tool called Remotability, which, as I said earlier, we launched in October last year. What I'm going to be able to do now is to actually demonstrate for you how we can understand the needs of the organization and the individual based on the data that we can extract across along with this tool. So very quickly, if you're an organization with say 100 employees, you will have 100 licenses for the agent or for your team members to respond to, and 1 license for the organization to respond to. So to be able to understand the remote work capabilities of both the organization and the individual, as well as their needs and their current standing. So how it will work is that what we got there is that we've got, I might need to go back in here again. So what we've got here is we've got, from an organizational perspective, a range of checklists, starting with all aligned to the standards in terms of processes, in terms of policies, codes of conduct, confidentiality, all new areas that organizations need to contend with. And as I said earlier, only 35% of the organizations globally have been able to align themselves to these new standards, which is presenting risk as well as opportunity. Secondly, in terms of the way an individual might approach this assessment, is the 5 key areas: workspace, environmental conditions, tech, insurance, accounting and tax, and personal productivity. 5 key areas determined by the global standards. And how they'll do it is it's a checklist basically, where for instance in the workspace you look at the physical environments that they work from, or the equipment that they use, the tech that they use, the way they need to manage their posture and ergonomics. And importantly, what they're also able to do is to provide the organization with an idea of the workspace, so they can actually upload their photos, documents, all related to remote work, and keep it in one place. So what we're really doing is we are in jurisdictions where it's now compulsory to ensure that individual workspaces provide the organization with flow plans, etc. We can now put all of it in one place. In fact, an organization, by just coordinating and collating workspaces has saved more than $1.3 million in terms of just administration and management time of just pulling it together.
Absolutely. And when you click into workstation setup and look at that workstation setup, that alone can save you so much money. So for example, if you have, you may not see any problems right now with your remote workforce. However, what you will experience down the road, say a year or 2 years down the road, is after a while of working inappropriately, you're going to have employees that are going to have carpal tunnel. They're going to have back problems. They're going to have neck problems. They're going to have shoulder problems. And all of this will then connect back to workman's comp. So it's a huge risk management play to be sure that your remote workers are self-reporting that they are doing things correctly to protect your company.
Indeed, right. So a quick demo again in terms of how the tool works, but importantly, it's a process of not just sending people checklists because people are checklisted out. This is a process by which you want to engage your team in for their own benefit, because you care, and so that they also become aware, because it is a duty of care and a responsibility for corporates to actually get people to understand, for instance, that all power outlets need to be in good condition, or they need to make sure that there's a surge protector available so that they don't put multiple plugs on to one point or take out many devices from one plug point. Importantly, if they do find that is an issue, they can actually create a bit of a task for themselves or send it out to the organization, give themselves an email reminder, or to whoever, or their manager if the need arises, or if it's stipulated to be so. So that what we're doing is not only are we engaging that team member to actually take action, and which we can review 6 months down the line. So the standard for review is around 6 months, every 6 months, because our conditions and everything changes. So what we are able to do is to be able to engage the team member, and importantly, understand across the teams if, for instance, we might need power boards, or whether we can do bulk purchasing for surge protector power boards, because it might be an issue. It may not be an issue, but the important piece is if we don't have this and we have 2 or 3 computers being cut out because of productivity, because there's been a power surge, we lose not only the computer but the person's productive time as well, and we can't afford that. And this, apart from that, impacts on our insurance as well. So overall, we want to make sure that the team members are engaged. We know what's happening. We understand the needs, so that we can then begin to drive specific programs across the business. So once they work through the tool, which shouldn't be more than an hour, and they can actually do this over a period of 8 weeks as well if the need arises. But we advise customers that team members need to complete within the hour. It's the process for assigning licenses are very easy. You can either do it yourself from one administrative perspective within the organization, or we can bulk upload for you as well, assign and upload for you as well. So there are 2 or 3 different approaches of assigning these licenses. And importantly, what we are able to do is to provide you with the communications that are required to support any program like this going out to your teams. Now, once they've actually finished this, what they're able to do very quickly is to see how well they've fared as an individual, whether they are remote work capable, and importantly, once they've actually done that, they've got the ability to look at some of the tasks that they've created for themselves, and then what they're also able to do is to be able to understand how they've fared as an individual across these different sections. There are a couple of other reports too, and in depth around.
This is a really great management tool. So this is a great tool for one-to-ones for managers and employees to guide the remote work setup process. Rather than, putting it all on the employee to set up their workspace, which is what is in existence now. This gives management a comprehensive report in which they can look at and then coach to remote work readiness or improve readiness based on that maturity score.
Indeed. And Di, to that point, to make it easy for both the individual and the managers, the report basically gives you, the key focus sections, and importantly, it goes through the whole detail. So, for instance, if you say this is not a shared workspace, which is good, but if you look at the response in 1.3.1, it says, is there a desk or a table to work on? Which means that they are working, and they said no, they're working off the kitchen table. Now that's fine, but you can now address this by providing them with information on how best to structure a posture when you're working off a kitchen table or your sofa. And that's pretty important. Now, more importantly, so is the ability for an organization to actually understand how they themselves will sit as far as the organization. There we are. Let me just move to a good environment. Well, we can actually, the organization themselves can see how they are faring. They get the same certificate if they are aligned to the global standards as the individual does. But importantly, what they're also able to do is to get this report, which basically says, across our team, here's the different remotability scores across the teams in the organization.
Yes.
It also, previously we understood from an individual perspective, now we've drawn it up to the teams itself. We've also got the individual scores, and importantly, what we are now really able to see for the first time across the organization, who's working well, who needs some help, who's at risk.
Yes, and this is a wonderful tool for health, safety, and environment professionals, risk management professionals, operations professionals who are looking at the organization as a whole to bring that organization into a policy standard.
Indeed. And it's not just compliance there, Di. It's also about understanding and caring for those needs, because we didn't really have a granular data-based approach, and we also know that sometimes the employee 360s sometimes don't reflect true conditions, because we can't. Each household is different, each individual is different, as we've seen from the challenges that are presented to individuals before. And so what we are now able to do is to use modern tech, very simple modern tech, to understand the remote work conditions of our folk, and what we can do very specifically to employ the right resources to achieve this. Because what we are also seeing is that 30% of individuals have complained to their organization saying that they are being over-communicated to. And there's another 30% that says that they have been under-communicated to.
Yep. The communications guidelines, standards, everything has changed, and that's even changed in terms of the need for developing team charters for teams so that they can have work standards before they even get started working. So Remotability really helps develop those standards and communicate the needs of the employee to have a more employee-centric company and environment.
Indeed. And if you remember, the 5 key questions that operational head, HR, health and safety, if you're managing a team, the top 5 key questions are: how do we make remote work possible, productive, and efficient. Who's working well, who's not working well, how do we use our resources to support productivity. And also what we need to do is we need to be able to look at the top 20 issues. And that's what Remotability does for us, is to be able to look at the top 20 issues. And as you can see over here, these are the top 20 issues that an organization comes up with based on the data to apply to manage their customers. Right. So this actually presents a nice segue into the end. If you've got any questions, and if you do want to reach out to us, please reach out to Dai, who will most definitely support you with any aspect of remote work that is covered in this space, and anything else as well. So Dai, let me ask you to tell people how they can reach out to you.
Absolutely. So to reach out to me, you just go to www.whatworksconsultants.com. On that main page, there is a complimentary 30-minute consultation button. You just click that. Be sure to schedule with me personally, and I will collect your software requirements, as well as any other challenges that you are facing as a leader within your organization.
If you're considering a transformation of your company's CX technology stack, then over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you why Zoho should be the top vendor on your shortlist. Let's start with the basic information. What is Zoho's customer experience platform? It's a vast suite of capabilities across customer-facing functions like sales, marketing, service, commerce, and more. It's a system of experiences that simplifies the experience economy for every stakeholder. From planning and creating diverse customer experiences to delivering and evolving them for the future, Zoho's CX platform helps organizations of all sizes enable employee productivity, improve stakeholder collaboration, and increase customer success. It's web-based, programmable, and extensible at multiple levels, and it promotes great ROI through high platform adoption amongst users. It's used by over 250,000 businesses around the world, including brands like IIFL, Agoda, Star Health and Allied Insurance, Purolite, and Counterculture Coffee, to transform the way their customer-facing teams work. Zoho is consistently ranked as a leading player in market reports that are based on user reviews, such as G2, as well as on reports authored by analysts from Gartner, Forrester, IDC, Constellation, and more. Now, why does Zoho deserve all that praise and recognition? I'll give you 4 simple reasons. The first one is that Zoho offers a unified suite of software for customer-facing teams. As you can see, Zoho builds everything from scratch and therefore understands unification at depth, unlike most of the vendors. And this allows us to do unification at a different level altogether. Let's consider the case of omnichannel. Unification allows our customers to provide a consistent communications journey for their customers, where the conversation history and the context travel from one channel to the next, allowing employees to provide better, more personalized sales and service experiences. When a new channel like live chat or social is added to the platform, all the teams in the entire organization can instantly start using it if they choose to. Easy to use, nothing to maintain, just the way omnichannel should be. When employees are trying to help a customer, they get everything they need on a single screen that's relevant to their role. They see customer details that are pulled in from various sources, the latest interactions with the customer, some solutions ideas for troubleshooting, and even relevant next steps. The system can also be integrated with the rest of the company's technology stack, so employees can trigger follow-up actions in other systems without leaving the customer experience platform. The system also promotes cross-functional collaboration through data integration, comments for simple interactions, as well as chat, voice, and video communication for higher-order collaboration amongst employees. All of these come together to improve response time, increase customer success, and drive employee engagement drastically. The platform offers functional as well as cross-functional experience orchestration across journeys, processes, and actions. individual employees can focus on the customer who needs their attention right now, while the system manages the allocation and transition of work, reduces human error, improves adherence to policies, and more. It also makes change management easier as everything can be managed from a single place. Now, whether it's efficiency at scale or personalization for each customer, AI is used at various points in the customer experience platform to do much of the heavy lifting. In sales, AI informs the salesperson of the best time to contact a prospect or a customer and what products to recommend to them based on conversation history. On the service side, AI provides conversational self-service to customers and also suggests appropriate responses for employees to send to customers while troubleshooting. There's also sentiment prediction to help triage work to the right employees and to guide their response thereafter. And for leaders, there's conversational BI, which automatically generates reports based on plain text questions, as well as anomaly notification, which warns supervisors and managers of sudden surges in incoming customer conversations. For streamlined and deeper analysis, the customer experience platform offers a full-blown analytics solution as well. It can be integrated with any data source and comes pre-integrated with data connectors for popular software like SAP, Microsoft Dynamics, Salesforce, and more. The BI layer allows managers and leaders to analyze the efficiency of a specific team as well as a specific function, but on the other hand, also combine cross-functional data for a broader perspective. And this in turn helps drive better customer experience decisions in the proper cross-functional context. In each of those cases, if you notice, unification helps bring together employees from various teams to serve the cause of customer success. We believe that Zoho does unification better than other vendors and is poised to improve this even further in the future. Now, this focus on unification does not mean that one size fits everyone. We believe that personalization is just as important, and our CX platform offers personalization for each stakeholder in the customer journey. And that brings us to the second reason for Zoho's differentiation, personalization for every stakeholder. Now, the platform offers website and email content personalization for customers and prospects, along with the ability to analyze what works and what doesn't. Now, many other platforms in the market offer that as well. Where we go beyond them is to offer no-code design capabilities to personalize the customer experience platform itself for employees and ecosystem partners. We do this through a simple drag-and-drop editor that allows functional operations teams to build software interfaces and experiences that are tailored to each employee's role in the organization. We're in the process of rolling this out to the entire customer experience platform, starting with the Salesforce automation component. This alone has helped drastically improve platform adoption and therefore has raised productivity and improves ROI for the organization as a whole. And this is already true for most of our customers. Moving on, a unified CX platform that is personalized to every stakeholder in the customer journey is a great start, but its influence is limited by how well it integrates with the rest of the company's technology stack. The platform offers over 1,000 native integrations with popular software in the market, and these can be installed often in a single click. For specific incremental requirements beyond the scope of these integrations, the platform offers no-code capabilities via Zoho Flow and Zapier, as well as low-code capabilities through Zoho's proprietary low-code programming language called Deloitte. For more complex requirements spanning multiple product lines or functions, Zoho's customer experience platform offers extensibility in the form of widgets, client scripting, as well as a full serverless application development platform. And together, these capabilities offer powerful yet practical ways for Zoho's CX platform to be integrated tightly with the company's existing software and technology stack. And that brings us to the final reason why Zoho should be on your shortlist, community and ecosystem. We believe that we've taken the time to build a strongly knit community of customers, partners, and enthusiasts, both offline and online around the world. Whether it's a one-off question or a bunch of feature ideas, some troubleshooting or training, Zoho supports its community of hundreds of thousands of users through community managers, self-paced and classroom-style training programs, best practices content, and hundreds of user group events worldwide every year. On the other hand, we've also invested carefully in a fully vetted and certified network of technology partners to help customers implement our platform successfully. Our partners' staff are trained and certified every year to keep up with the pace of our change. And all of these are also regional efforts with a roster of local activities that are relevant to each region. We've seen unification, personalization, extensibility, as well as community and ecosystem as the 4 main reasons why Zoho should be on your CX technology shortlist. Let me give you a bonus reason: value. Ask any of our customers and you'll hear about the incredible ROI that Zoho delivers. That's it from me now. I'm guessing you are already ready to evaluate Zoho for a current or upcoming CX transformation project. Our promise is to help you simplify the experience economy for every stakeholder in your customer journey. We hope to hear from you. Bye-bye.
Everyone wants better outcomes. And most people know that you need to change behaviors at an individual and organizational level to change outcomes. What most companies don't understand is that you don't change behaviors by talking about behaviors. You need to change mindsets. These mental blocks that people live with and that prevent behavior change also prevent outcomes that people want to achieve. So the first question you need to ask yourself is, am I focused on behavior change or changing the way people think? And are the vendors that I work with focused on behavior change or changing the way people think? meQuilibrium is all about changing the way people think, changing mental blockers, freeing people up to think more creatively and stay focused longer in the face of stress and pressure. And doing that, people can change their behaviors and can get to better performance and better business outcomes. Our product works at an individual level, team level, and executive organizational level, and I'll walk you through all of those experiences. So here I'll start with the individual experience. We've got this character named Javier. He's going to walk through the product. I'll show you kind of how this product works for an individual member. Everybody starts by completing an assessment. The assessment's approximately 90 questions long, typically takes 7 to 10 minutes to complete. It builds a really rich profile for Javier for everyone who uses the product. So in this example, Javier sees that he's got some challenges around sleep and engagement and work-life balance. We track 18 different factors of resilience, and so here you're seeing the 3 that he's weakest at. And we also track and show him what he's strongest at around problem solving, emotion control, etc. He's got some stress around his family and his health. We've got the concept of a MEQ personality, so he's an optimist. People can learn more about how their personality fits against other people in their teams and how they can work best with each other. We also show Javier how he progresses over time, and he's moved forward a bit in time. He started at a 65 out of 100 in resilience. He's moved up 5 points up to 70. Most people are going to spend most of their time on the home page. These items typically take 1 to 4 minutes to complete. Within a few minutes a week, you can become a more resilient person. One of the things we do every day is we offer an article, a fresh article every day, and it's personalized. Here we have this mood coach. Think of it as like a pulse survey. We can say how he's feeling, and if he wants, he can engage with the chatbot to help him. So let's say he's having a fairly stressful day and he says, I want to get less stressed. It will remember what he's done in the past when feeling this way. Last time he was stressed, he did this breathing exercise and he decided, I want to do that one again. So it pulls up the exercise and he can do it again. So hopefully this gives you a sense of how he can do a few things quickly and help him become more resilient. We're going to shift gears to the organizational resilience. So this is the web version, same content. We really focus on activating the entire organization to build resilience. We take that pressure off of the HR department and we help the whole company shoulder the responsibility of becoming more resilient. We do that in a few ways. We start at the top with organizational and executive insights. We can show both at a company level and subpopulation level what's going on with an organization average. You can see all the factors, but more important than showing what's going on, it's what the manager should do about it. So here, this group is really struggling with stress management and purpose. We can show the manager what the implications of that are, that people are more likely to quit, they're more likely to see clinical depression, they're more likely to have low job satisfaction. So we can, with a click of a button, that manager can route this skill to that team to help with purpose or to help with stress management. We also show team courses to the leaders and to their teams so that they can work together to build a resilient team and organization. We start with the leader modeling resilience, becoming a more resilient person themselves, and then we work through team courses, team exercises around making the resilient workplace stronger, higher performance, greater agility, etc. So all these rich courses that the team can do together. We also do team challenges to encourage teams to work together. And then finally, at a HR executive level, we offer full reporting. So executives in HR get a separate tool so that they can see what's going on with all their data, with all their employees, and slice and dice information so that they can better understand how meQ is doing, how it's performing, what's going on with their organization, what are the hot spots that they may want to add additional resources in certain geographies or demographics in order to better support their population. Hopefully, this quick review of meQ gives you a better sense of how our product works and how it builds organizational resilience by building it at the individual, team, and executive level.
Here's how WEBCON makes citizen-assisted development scale and succeed. Citizen development often fails, or more to the point, abdicating development to users often fails. You might ask why, because software developers of low-code platforms do what they can to make developing applications easy. The issue is, it's not just about developing those applications. Development is really only about 10% of the work it takes to deliver something. There's design, auditing, security, monitoring, maintenance, usability, training, and change management. And citizen developers usually ignore that stuff, and it makes their work incredibly fragile, suitable for personal use, but not much else. The thing is, low code is not the problem. Low code in the hands of professionals can produce amazingly great results if the professionals in question have a sense of what users actually want. More often than not, they don't. It's a communication challenge in a big way. Why WEBCON is such a strong proponent of something called citizen-assisted development. It's not the abdication of building applications to users, it's collaboration between users and professionals. We've even built a tool for it called Designer Desk, and we'd love for you to see it in action. Imagine a citizen developer, really a citizen analyst, deciding on an application they'd like to build. They'll build a form and decide what data they need at the exact same time by putting the right fields in the right place, making sure they've got the right names and such. What we are looking at is an example of what the form should be when the developer actually builds it. And if there is any special behavior we need, we make notes about it. We'd like this one to be date and time, for example. Any defaults, any custom behavior, any instructions to users, any of that. Make sure we annotate it thoroughly. We don't have to obsess over the details, just provide notes. Let's also build a workflow. We actually could start with the workflow and do the form later, but we found that users tend to think of forms first. That's perfectly fine. These steps in the process represent states or statuses. So you indicate where the form is going from place to place. So you always know where the form is going to be. You annotate what each step means, and you annotate what happens as you move from step to step. Now, once we know what the form looks like and the data it's going to have, and we know the steps it's going to go through, we can try the whole thing out. It's probably for the best. We want to check these instructions. We want to check these steps. Let's put some data in here and click the appropriate buttons to move it from step to step and make sure that the transitions are all correct. In production, this would move from user to user, but when we're testing out an example, all steps lead back to the same person to make it easy to test. Now let's take a look at the data view, the report. I'd like to add a few fields to this. It already has status information, but I want some form data in here too. and that looks great. But trying it out made me realize it's not enough. There are a few extra steps in the workflow that must take place, so I'll put them in here and annotate them thoroughly so that when someone goes to build the real thing, they'll know what it is they're supposed to do. And I would imagine as you see me doing this, one of the questions that you're probably asking yourself is, how is this different from citizen development? It starts with what we're not doing. We are not asking the citizen analyst to configure everything. We're sure they know what they want, but it's not their field of expertise to know how to produce it. That's okay. By providing examples and annotations, someone in IT, a third-party developer, a consultant, they can take those notes, combine it with their expertise, and produce the desired result the way they uniquely know how to do. It's a conversation between the citizen that knows the what and the professional that knows the how. Instead of settings and scripts and rules and formulas, Designer Desk focuses on examples and notes. This is even true of data. Let's add a drop-down choice box to this form and explain where it's going to get its data. We don't need to teach a citizen analyst how to get data from another place. We're just asking them to say, yes, you're going to get it from this other place. You'd figure out the details. And here's an example of what I want you to query. When it comes to things like conditional formatting, well, checkboxes can take care of whether something should be visible or read-only or required at each step of the process. This approach shapes the requests that users make, makes them actionable by developers, and it makes the expectations on everybody's part crystal clear. In addition to this being a living example, including things like desired security permissions and such, we can, with a single click, produce documentation that can illustrate exactly how this application is meant to behave and allow people to browse through it. So if they didn't participate in an interactive design session, they can still see what the results of it were and decide whether or not it's suitable. Everything is in here. And it doesn't end there. With one more click, this becomes a project that can be completed by professionals using WEBCON BPS. Here's that exact same application, now inside a professional design environment. It's still low code. We're going to spend a lot of time configuring it and looking at the notes that were given to us and making the appropriate configuration choices to match. A lot of this will affect who gets notified, who gets assigned things. These are all things that were provided to us in notes. This affects form fields, this affects data dictionary definitions and defaults, and everything else. We can add formulas that are low-code and easy. We can configure the visual appearance of some things. We can make some changes to those final reports. And we can add specific instructions that refer to the security parameters people were asking for in notes. We can make those refer to actual security groups and user identities. And there's more. Instead of only being able to do 10%, we can cover the vast majority of an application's delivery needs, especially change management, something WEBCON excels at, and something that matters a lot when dealing with user requests. This example, we've just submitted a form to this user's manager, and the manager is going to reject it. And if you're curious as to what should happen if she clicks the reject button, it'll follow the pattern here, which is to move it along the reject path to the rejected state. But what if users would prefer a second chance? Can we change this? Yes, and we can change it even while the application is in use. We'll move the reject path so that it goes right back to preparing request and assign it to the author and make sure they get a notification for it. Now, when we do that, we need to also provide a path for the author to give up. And so we'll call this withdraw and we'll change rejected to cancel. Let's see it in action. We're not going to reload this form. We're not going to recall it. We're not going to grandfather it. The change took effect in real time. This went back to the author and it's once again the preparing request step. This is technology WEBCON calls instant change, and it's all about enabling continuous improvement to applications. When you combine that with clear communication, you get citizen-assisted development, and that is the WEBCON way. If you'd like to know more, please visit us at www.webcon.com. And thanks for watching.
Hello and welcome to our Procure to Pay demo. In this video, we'll take you through the steps from the catalog purchase of a new computer to the invoice booking. For the purpose of the scenario, I will connect to the solution using different user profiles. Let's get started. First, I'm going to connect as Eric Requester in order to submit my purchase requisition. From my workspace, I'm going to click on the Create a Purchase Requisition button. I have several options to make a purchase request. I can either use my company's internal catalog or a punch-out catalog, such as Amazon Business, upload a quotation, copy-paste an Excel spreadsheet, or enter a free description. In this example, I will use the internal catalog. To facilitate browsing and reduce the need for user training, the catalog is similar to those found on B2C e-commerce websites. Items can be displayed either as thumbnails or as a list. In this scenario, I want to buy a new computer, so to save time, I can filter items by category. Let's select Computer Supplies. If I need an item from a specific supplier, I can also filter the results by vendor. Okay, let's add the 14-inch laptop with 4 GB of RAM to my purchase requisition. All elements are automatically filled in: price, vendor name, cost center, cost type, etc. By default, the earliest delivery date possible is set as the desired delivery date, but I can easily change that date if needed. We can also see that Kate CC Owner was automatically added to the validation workflow as she is the direct manager. Once I click on the Submit Purchase Requisition button, the purchase requisition is successfully submitted for approval. I can follow the progress of the purchase request directly from my dashboard. Now we will connect as Kate CC Owner in order to approve Eric's requisition. As a cost center owner, Kate's workspace contains graphs, reports, and counters that allow her to get visibility over spend and monitor budgets to stay in line with plans. Let's click on the counter showing requisitions to approve. I'm able to easily locate the requests I would like to approve thanks to the requisition number. Click on the View Details link next to it. I can verify information like requisition number, quantity, and total net amount. I can also check budget information. Budget ID impacted, total budget, and remaining budget are displayed on the line items. I can also add a short comment for the next user in the workflow. Okay for me, thanks. I can now approve Eric's purchase requisition. Let's continue. We are now going to connect as Carol Buyer, who is in charge of placing the order. Let's click on Items to Order. I can locate the right item to order thanks to the requisition number. If needed, I can also group several items in a single purchase order. I can verify all relevant information and see if there are any comments from previous users before placing the order. A draft of the purchase order is automatically generated. When creating the purchase order, I can add or modify the selected vendor if needed. If it's relevant, I can also submit a supplier creation request for new vendors. Choose the sending method of my purchase order, email or other. Add shipping costs. Modify payment terms. I can now click on Order so the PO will be sent to the vendor. Let's fast forward and pretend that Eric has received the computer per our scenario. We are going to connect as Carol Buyer in order to enter the goods receipt. Let's go to the list of items pending delivery by clicking on the metric Items Pending Delivery. I can find the order with the order number and then click on View Details to open the form. I will just have to enter the received date and the quantity received. As I am not expecting any other item in this particular case, the field Last Delivery is automatically ticked once I have entered the quantity received. I can now click on Confirmed Receipt and the goods receipt is created. Let's continue to the invoice receipt and verification step. In order to do so, we're going to connect as John AP Specialist. There are a number of queues used to organize invoices that arrive in the solution via email, fax, EDI, etc. The dashboard features key performance indicators and interactive graphs that provide AP staff with a view of their entire AP process. A number of ready-made reports are available and can easily be shared in a single click. A configuration tool allows users to customize reports to best suit their needs. By clicking on Invoices assigned to AP Specialist, I can retrieve the invoice corresponding to the computer purchase. Here we have a detailed view of all invoices and multiple key data fields that Esker has extracted. Advanced Search allows you to sort invoices according to multiple criteria. If I click Open, a validation screen appears. On the right side, the invoice is displayed, and on the left, data fields that Esker has extracted from the invoice. The invoice is considered a PO invoice because a PO matching the invoice details has been found in the solution. Esker will use the PO and the goods receipt data replicated from the ERP to attempt to automatically perform a three-way match. If a match cannot be made, Esker will note the exception type and place it into the AP queues for further review. For non-PO invoices, Esker uses a number of technologies, including machine learning, to automatically extract all necessary data from the invoice. Here we are going to verify all information and, most importantly, verify that the balance equals 0. If there isn't an exception, like in this example, no approval workflow will be generated. However, I'm going to add Kate CC Owner as a reviewer for demo purposes. In order to do so, I just have to click on the plus sign on the left side of John AP Specialist. Now we are ready to click on Request Approval. Please note that I can also enable automatic processing on a vendor-by-vendor basis when the three-way matching has worked as expected, and invoice processing is even faster. Now we are going to connect as Kate CC Owner, as she is in charge of reviewing the invoice. As a cost center owner, invoice review is not her main activity. Thanks to Esker's email notifications, Kate receives an email alert every time an action is required, putting an end to bottlenecks that can lead to process delays. If Kate CC Owner is out of the office, she can easily validate the invoice using the Esker Anywhere mobile application. And like all members of the workflow, when on vacation, she can designate a backup user using the out-of-the-office assistant. They will be able to perform the required actions during her absence. To review the invoice, I just have to click on Invoices to approve. Once I've verified all invoice details, I can click on Approve at the bottom of the form. The invoice is now approved. According to business needs, different invoice booking scenarios can be managed through Esker's solution. For example, it is possible to trigger automatic posting at the end of the approval workflow. In this instance, the invoice doesn't return to the AP specialist after payment approval. It is also possible to post the invoice directly and trigger payment release at the end of the workflow. This is generally how European companies proceed. In our scenario, the invoice is posted and paid at the end of the approval workflow. The posting and payment are managed by the AP specialist, and the approval workflow is complete. We're now ready to post the invoice and release payment. To do so, we are going to connect as John AP Specialist. Let's click on the metric Invoices Assigned to AP Specialist. As everything looks correct, I can click Post at the bottom of the form. Once invoices are paid, a filtered list conveniently displays all paid invoices. As you can see, payment details such as payment method, date, and reference are automatically replicated from the ERP. Esker also enables suppliers to be informed in real time of their invoice status via a dedicated portal. This is completely free of charge for the supplier. When suppliers log into their portal, they will see that their invoice has just been paid. This frees up AP staff from having to manage calls and provide invoice status updates. We have reached the end of our Procure to Pay demo. We hope you found it informative. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.
So there you have it, a demo slam. We hope you found this unique virtual showcase of industry solutions beneficial. We tried to compress a lot of information into a small amount of time. That's what the Insight Jam is all about. We appreciate you sticking around till the end. Thanks for watching.